preeclampsia on the first pregnancy with my son, and I didn't have it as bad. So that was kind of like a normal birth, that one. So this was like the second pregnancy, and I got preeclampsia again. But the doctors didn't really know I had preeclampsia for a while. I'd been getting pains in my stomach with my daughter when I was pregnant with my daughter. I'd been getting pains for a long time before anything even happened. And I'd been walking around the town pushing my son, and every now and again I'd get really sharp pains in my stomach. And I got told after I'd had it that there was old scars on the placenta. So what that meant was I'd been walking around with a placenta previa, and I didn't even know it. So the pains had been something. Even though I'd gone to the hospital quite a few times and told them I had pains, they were like, "Oh, well, you look too fit and healthy to be having your pains. You don't look as though you're in pain," because they'd gone off then. So they didn't really do anything. So the pains had been a placenta previa that I'd been walking around with as well. So anyway, back to the story of like what happens. And then the night before it happened, I got pains all night, like really bad pains. And I got up the next morning, and so I was just at home with my son, and then somebody come and took him for me because they were a lot worse. And they were like coming on and off like really badly. And I rang the hospital and told them I'm these pains, and they were like, "Well, you've got 8 weeks to go. You can't be in labour." Like, they said, "Oh, if you have a hot bath, run a hot bath, that'll help." So I did. I run a hot bath, and then my auntie called in before she was going somewhere, and she called in. She said I looked terrible, and I was sat on the bottom stair, and the pains were just getting worse, and the bath was full. And if it wasn't for her calling round, I would have gone in the bath, and I would never got out alive again. I wouldn't have survived if I'd gone in the bath. And she rang an ambulance, and they wouldn't bring an ambulance for me. They didn't think I was that bad. So she called me a taxi. So I got a taxi down with my sister. And in the taxi, the pains were getting worse, and I started vomiting. And then when I got there, I could hardly stand up. She had to help me in and up the corridor. And then they could put me on the bed, and like everybody was like kind of starting to rush around me and all that. And I could see the blood pressure monitor. I could see my blood pressure was really, really high. And then I knew it was preeclampsia myself, because I'd had preeclampsia before the first time. But I just had a feeling that that's what it was. And nobody had really took me as having preeclampsia seriously before in that pregnancy. Because even though I'd had like a protein in my urine and all that, and my hands had swelled up and my feet had swelled up, even though I was really skinny at the time, I didn't know what it was. They put a machine on, and they knew there was kind of like activity there, but they didn't know what it was. And then I was watching my sister, and I knew there was panic all around me. All the doctors were panicking, and the nurses and everything, watching machines and all that. And then I was looked at my sister, and instead of seeing like one of her, I could see like 3 of her, of one person. And I knew then I was getting worse. So obviously, like, it had turned to eclampsia. So I was starting to fit. All of a sudden, my blood pressure was so high, all of a sudden the pain got worse in my stomach. And I felt like a pop in my stomach. And I knew it was bad. I didn't know what it was, but I knew it was bad. And I kind of like just felt as though I'd give up. And I just kind of like laid down. I was watching everything, trying to watch everything, what was going on, trying to stay calm. But when that happened, I just kind of like gave up and just laid down. And when that happened, the pop, like, there was just like blood came out, and it just like shot against the walls. It was on the floor. It was just everywhere was covered in blood. And I just laid down. I felt so ill. I just laid down. I knew there was nothing I could do. And the doctor came, put his hand there, and I saw loads of blood clots, and my placenta had come out in bits on his hand, which was disgusting. Like, and it's not very nice. Like I still have flashbacks about it even now, and the blood everywhere. I remember getting wheeled off down the corridor for the emergency cesarean. I remember being really scared because I didn't think I would wake back up again, to be honest. When they were knocking me out, the doctor put his hand on my throat because I'd eaten my breakfast. So he put his hand on my throat because if they didn't, I would have sicked up because I'd eaten before they get knocked out. I knew nothing about it after that. Like, and Mum came down and my husband and that, and they kept coming out and saying to my mum that they were trying to trying to stabilise me. I was getting resuscitated, and my daughter had been born blue, apparently completely blue, when she came out. and apparently she wasn't breathing, she had no pulse, completely blue and lifeless body. She was asphyxiated at birth, as they called it. She was apneic and pulseless. So they gave her mouth-to-mouth resuscitation and heart massage for 7 minutes, and then after 7 minutes they finally detected something. And also it took like another 7 hours before they could stabilise her enough to be moved to another hospital, like, which was a long way away. And my cesarean took 7 hours, and I had to keep being resuscitated throughout the cesarean. Apparently where the placenta had come away completely, I'd had a massive hemorrhage. So they said the blood was coming out of me quicker than they could actually get it into me. So I had quite a lot of blood transfusions. I think I had 3 blood transfusions. I had a lot of blood anyway. They said it was coming out of me quicker than they could get it into me. They said I was very poorly, and it was really hard to stabilise me and keep me stabilised. My cesarean took 7 hours, my emergency cesarean. And when I was kept on like a machine, like, afterwards, and I was kept sedated. So when I finally woke up, she'd gone off to like another hospital, and I never saw her. I got photos sent to me, which I'll show you the photos on here. I got photos sent to me of what she looked like. When I first woke up, like, afterwards, like, after they let me wake up, all I could move was like my head, my whole body. I was laid out completely flat, and I was on morphine, and I could only move my head. So I would press the buzzer for a drink or something like that, and I could only move my head, and I was getting morphine in my leg or backside, whatever it was, all the time. And I was completely covered in bruises and stuff, like all halfway down my legs and all my stomach and that. And then I had like a load of doctors come and see me afterwards, because they couldn't believe that, like, that I was still there. And like after that, I kind of like got up gradually. Like I kind of like got up and tried to get to the commode, and then I would need help getting washed. I'll tell you what was weird. What was weird was when I woke up and I had the big blood bag there, and I was getting like blood. And I'll tell you what was weird, when I first looked in the mirror afterwards, and I looked at myself for the first time afterwards, I'd been really skinny. And afterwards, after the cesarean and everything, and what happened, my face was all swollen up, and I just had slits for eyes, and it didn't look like me. And my face was all swollen up, and it was brown. So whether it was brown because of the trouble I had with me liver and stuff because of the eclampsia, or whether it was brown because of the amount of blood I'd had, I don't know. But my face was all swollen up, and I had like slits for eyes, and my face was brown. It didn't look like me. That was a bit of a shock. It's a really difficult time. And at the time they were saying, oh, she won't walk, she won't talk and all that. And I thought, like hell yeah. She was very late at talking, she was late at walking and everything like that. I mean, she was 8 weeks early as well. She was £4 11 ounces, which was quite big for 8 weeks early. And she did walk, she talked eventually and everything. But I knew there was something not quite right with her still, and they were saying, oh, they couldn't tell what I meant. And then I went and got her tested, and she was impaired at everything. Like, she was like, where the scar lines were, she was rock bottom. So then we realised she had like speech and language problem understandings. She had like, she couldn't do jokes, she had autistic traits. She had a global learning disability. She had bowel problems, and when she was a baby, like in the neonatal unit in the hospital where she was, she had pneumonia twice. She had jaundice for days. She was anemic for a year. She had like loads of different problems. She had a heart murmur in that hospital, and then now she had like the learning disability and all that. So from being a baby, it's been hard work, but like once over, if I'd said a joke to her, she would have jumped up and just like attacked me or something, because she had no understanding of things. She'd jump up and she would just kick me in the throat or something. But now, like, it's been hard work learning it, because she had memory problems. She had an impaired memory, so I was having to tell her over and over and over again every single day things, to learn things, which was really hard work, considering like I haven't really been healthy myself after the birth. But now she's like at a special school still, and she's 13 now. She'll be 14 on Valentine's Day. I feel really proud of her. She's come on amazing. It's been hard work because I've helped her a lot, and so has her dad. But it's been really hard work helping her because of the memory problems and everything, and tantrums and temper and things. But I feel as though she's done absolutely amazing. She still has a lot of problems and things, And she's been in and out of hospital with like immature immune system when she was younger for years. Really amazing. And I'm really proud of her. And I'm proud of myself for being able to look after her, even though I had such a hard time myself of putting all the hard work into helping her. And she appreciates it now. I've had problems ever since I had her. Whether it's to do with the resuscitation or the amount of blood I lost. Some doctors have said that not enough blood got to the bottom of my brain when I was losing it. Because there wasn't enough going around my body. So I get dizzy easily, I have balance problems, I have trouble with my stomach, irritable bowel type of thing, I get vertigo where it's so bad that I can't get out of bed and I'm vomiting with it and need an injection. I have memory problems, I have headaches all the time. Like I've had all of that ever since I had her really. I was also on like blood pressure tablets, like after I had her, 4 times a day for a whole year, which is unusual because normally when you've had the baby, your blood pressure normally goes back to normal after you've had preeclampsia. And also my hair went white as well. And just do the best I can in life and try and enjoy my life. Like I find it difficult, like I can't go upstairs, like twisty stairs. Because if I go upstairs that goes round like that, I get dizzy and I start vomiting. I can't do it. If I follow a train line like that, that's going along, I can't do it. I have to sit down because I start to get dizzy and vomit. Like things like that. I have memory problems, I get mixed up easily, I find it hard concentrating. Like all sorts of stuff like that. So I've had my own like health problems. Some doctors are not sure whether I'm taking fits still as well, because I've had them kind of like these a bit funny episodes ever since I've had a. So we'll just see what happens with that. I just like to joke on and just try and enjoy my life, and you just have to try and make the best of your life, don't you? You can't sit and like fret about stuff. We're both here and we're both alive and we're both kicking. And that's all that matters really. I've been able to see my son grow up as well as my daughter. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. I'm not going to do a boof at the end because I don't think it applies to this video because it's a serious video. And maybe this video will help out some other mothers who have gone through the same thing or who are worried about preeclampsia or pregnancy or high blood pressure or something like that. And if it does help, and like the fact that like my daughter Jade is doing so well now, maybe it'll help somebody else out. Like I don't really think that me or my daughter should be even here. Really, I've had that said to me like loads of times by different people. Yeah. So if this has helped anybody, then I'll be really, really happy about that. You think that me and my daughter have done really, really well, then please give me a thumbs up to let me know. And if, like I say, if you have a similar story, then I'd love to know about it. I'd love to know, like, if there's other people that's gone through the same thing. Like, my mum did tell me about a story of, like, somebody she knew, like, it was a dentist that she knew. And his sister had gone through the same thing as me. And the sister survived, but the baby didn't. So if you've got stories like that you'd like to share with me, that would be brilliant. I'd love to know about other people that's gone through the same thing. And don't forget to put in the comments or whatever, or contact me if you've had like similar things happen. It's quite sad, like I still have really like vivid flashbacks of it. I think that I was quite traumatised by what happened for a long time, even now still really. You probably never really get over stuff like that really, do you? And my mum said like when the doctor came out to tell her the news, like how they were still trying to like stabilise me, and they were resuscitating me and that, and they were resuscitating Jade at the same time. And mum said he was like covered in me blood, absolutely covered from head to toe in my blood. Horrible, horrible thought.